All right, so that was running a load test with a distributed set of controllers and agents. Here's a few quick tips and some troubleshooting things to look for if you're setting this up yourself and running into problems. Make sure your firewall is configured so that your agent and your controllers can talk to one another and your agents can talk to your web server. If you need to, just turn off the firewall and see if that makes things work, and then that'll let you identify that that's the problem. Get your performance counters to work. I recommend doing this with perfmon, not with the load test agent at first. Once you're able to view the performance counters from your controller machine, view the counters of the agents on your controller machine, then you know that that's working. And I would even just leave perfmon running while you run the load test, just to make sure it's able to load those counters correctly. Make sure that your web tests have a parameterized web server. Don't be using localhost in them, or your agents will just be pointing to themselves. If that's what you want to do, then just make sure your app is actually distributed to those agents. But usually you're going to want them all hitting your one web server. And then make sure that you configure that web server so that it's running on IIS, because IIS Express and Cassini by default are only configured to work with localhost. Now let's talk about how we can extend these load tests using load test plugins. These are only available if you have the Ultimate license, as are most of these load testing features. There is a interface, iLoadTest plugin, that you must implement, and it offers up these events that you can see here, so that you're able to handle certain things like load tests starting, finished, individual tests starting and finished. Anytime there's a threshold exceeded. There's also a heartbeat that you can just do anything you need to that occurs once per second, and also whether or not it was aborted or once the warm-up finishes. One possible use for this would be for logging. So you could use debug view or something, and you could see when load tests were starting on various machines. You could have the logging be done to the local host, or you could actually have the logging go to some centralized database or what have you. This could be useful for diagnostics, for example.